Hi, Michelle McDowell. Lesson 12. We're going to be talking about Joseph today. You know, this is an interesting story. Joseph's father Jacob loved him more than any of the other 11 brothers, which caused a problem: jealousy. And this jealousy led to a path of really torturing for Joseph. But what the enemy meant for evil, God used for good. It was part of God's plan, the way that Joseph's story played out. When he was young, I guess around 17, his brothers had had enough of the jealousy and his father's treatment towards Joseph. His father had made him a special coat, a special piece of clothing, and not for any of the other brothers. So one day they had all they could take, and they decided they were going to kill Joseph. They threw him down in a big hole in the ground and left him there. But then their conscience played a guilt trip on them. And there was a group of people that was traveling by that was from Egypt. So they decided they would sell Joseph to this traveling crew and send him to Egypt. So they pulled him out of the cistern and they sold him to these slave drivers, which in turn took Joseph to Egypt and sold him. Joseph had to endure many trials in his young life. He was sold into slavery, but then he was unfairly accused of something he didn't do. He went to prison for it. And while in prison, he earned the respect of the guards and worked his way up and out of the prison to eventually he became the governor over Egypt. Only God can do things like that in our lives. God's grace was upon him, and it was evident. So at the end of the story in this scripture, in this passage, it all came down to where all of the dreams that Joseph used to have as a child, where his brothers would bow down before him and ask for food, they came true. There was a famine in a land, a great famine. So Jacob and his sons had to go to Egypt for food. The brothers traveled to Egypt and ended up having to beg for food from their brother Joseph. They all ended up just like Joseph's dream described to them. There was a reconciliation at the end of the story, and Jacob was reconciled with his son as well, because he had grieved for years thinking that his son was dead. And in reality, God was just fulfilling his plan. See you next time.